What's going on, boys? It's your guy OG Dr. D back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining how to score in EASHL 3s. I'm going to be doing it in two separate categories, one with a human goalie and one without a human goalie, because I know people have a different preference of playing. I like to play with a human goalie. I know a lot of people don't like to play with goalies just because it's a consistent thing. But I like playing with human goalies because you never really know what they're going to do. You can't really do a glitch goal. There are things that work, but there are also things that don't work all the time. So that's why I like doing it. So let's hop right into it. So your first shot is going to be, you're coming down the wing on the right side or left side, depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed. You're going to your forehand, and you're going to want to curl inside, and then once you get to about that middle, then you want to shoot towards the side closest to you. So I'm shooting towards the right side of the net because I'm left-handed, and this works a lot of the time. It's a great shot. You're always going to have a good opportunity. Slap shots also do work from this area. The slap shots are another big key to it. You can do slap shots or wrist shots, doesn't really matter. They'll both go in. But if you do it right, you should be able to get it a lot of times if you're open. And it frees up a lot of space for you, because then people are going to want to cover that shot, and then you can hit them with something else. It used to actually be considered a glitch goal in these NHL games. For a long time. I remember NHL20, I think 15 and 16, just coming to the middle and shooting on this glove side or the far side would work like every single time, and it was pretty annoying playing against it because, I mean, it's just so hard to stop whenever other teams can mix in different moves and different things to score. It really gets annoying. Coming in at number 1 on our list, it is the snipe on the short side. Next on our list is the universal shot, the thing that always works in every single NHL game, the cross-crease. It is so hard to stop for any computer or human goalie. So it is very, very hard to stop. And if a team has a couple good passers on their team who can get other people open, it is the most deadly thing. You'll see people go for the cross crease over and over and over again in these games, because that's just what has worked since, I don't even know, NHL 09. I can't even think of when it worked since. It's been so long. That's just how this game works. You're gonna want to come out and look for that pass across the middle, and there are certain spots that you should be standing at depending on your handedness of your teammate, and it all depends. So first we're going to get into when you should pass, when you shouldn't pass. So this is the most complicated thing. So there are examples of when you shouldn't, and that's when somebody has the lane and somebody is just taking your teammate out of the play completely. This happens mostly whenever there's a human defenseman. When somebody's taking your teammate completely out of the play, that's when you want to go yourself. You want to take the puck yourself. You can either do that forehand shot I told you earlier, or you can do some of the other moves that I'm going to be teaching you later. But you definitely want to take it yourself. You don't want to pass it over in this situation. But in a situation where somebody's kinda going, he's hesitant to get in between you guys, he's like sitting there and he doesn't know if he really wants to go after the pass, that's when you should pass it, because he's not going to be able to stop it. It's so hard to stop. And I'll show you guys how you guys will be able to manipulate these defensemen into making them think you're going to go all the way and then doing it. And as for the certain spots to stand, especially in drop-in, you should stand up a little bit further. I think a lot of people, they get this preconceived notion that they should stand low to the net. Well, you don't want to stand low. You want to kind of stand in that OV area, a little bit lower than the OV area, and just take rippers. It is better off if you guys have a right-handed and a left-handed player. on your offense, and then for defense it doesn't really matter as long as that guy's getting the puck out of your own end. But it's ideal to have a right-handed and a left-handed guy so they can both take one-timers on each side standing at those circles. One guy can carry the puck out and make someone miss and look for the pass, while the other guy is maneuvering, going up and down, and he's looking for the right play so that he can score. You should always be moving in the offensive zone. There's never really a time where you shouldn't be moving. Your teammates should be able to find you eventually if you keep moving, because it makes it easy if you're just sitting there, just waiting for the puck to come to you, for that guy to intercept it, because he's not really moving. So coming in at number 2 on this one is the cross-crease. Now, third on our list is the breakaway or penalty shot situation. Now, these are still tough. A lot of people do different things. It's honestly just up to the person at hand. Personally, for me, I like to do the one-handed tuck, and there are a couple areas where you can do this from. You need to be in the right area and do it at the right time, so it does take practice. It is not something that you're going to be able to get on your first try. I still don't get it every single time. Sometimes I do. The goalie does save it. So you're going to have to be able to practice with it and be able to get it down. The next move is the backhand, forehand, backhand. And this works on both penalty shots and it works on the breakaway, just like the one-hand tuck. So, and this is also a move that I was talking about earlier. You're gonna want to do if your teammate is being taken away on the cross crease. If they're taking him away on the cross crease, you're gonna want to do this move to be able to score on this computer goalie, because it does work almost every time. The goalie does have the occasional save. It's gonna happen, but yeah. It's a backhand. Turn your body to the backhand, turn your body completely to the forehand, and then go back to the backhand. And this should leave the goaltender way out of position, and then you just put it in with the backhand. This works if you're left-handed or right-handed. It doesn't really matter. It works for both. Next is, I don't even know what to call it, but I've seen it a lot recently. You go to the boards and then you just cheese it on the forehand. You just pull it all the way back on your forehand and then come around and shoot. And it works. I've seen people do it, and it doesn't work 100% of the time, again, just like all of these, but it does work a lot of the time. I've seen a lot of people do it. So that's another move that works on the penalty shot and as well as the breakaway. You probably shouldn't really use it on a breakaway. This is more of a penalty shot move, because a breakaway, you really don't have that time to be able to head towards the boards and then go forehand. It doesn't really work that way. You don't have a lot of time and dropping, because people are back checking, they're chasing if you're on a breakaway, so you're not really going to have all the time in the world. And now for our last move is the L2 turn right before you hit the goalie. Now, I've seen a lot of top players do this. Top players love this move. I don't know why, but they do. As soon as you're about to get to the goalie, you L2 turn and then come to the backhand. Whether you're right-handed or left-handed, it works either way. You L2 it, you turn, but you don't turn too much because you will spin, and if you spin, it's over. The penalty shot's over. This does work on both penalty shots and breakaways, so it's a nice little move. Get to know it if that's what suits your fancy. And I mean, there's 4 moves I just gave you guys to do on the penalty shots or breakaways. So you figure out what works best for you, practice them, whatever you like the best, that's what you should use. We're done looking at the computer goalies. We're going to look at human goalies and how to score on human goalies. What works, what doesn't work, what goalies tend to bite on, what they tend not to bite on. So I'm going to give you a couple ways that you can score on the human goalie. The first way to score on the human goalie, and I mean this is pretty simple itself because I said it earlier, but the cross-crease. The cross-crease works on human goalies better than it does on computer goalies. It's hard for goalies to read what you're going to do, so you're going to have to mix in other things. The goalie is going to read a cross-crease if you do the cross-crease every single time. So mix in some other shots, mix in some other things, some other ideas that I say later in the video to be able to help you become a better player. Next up, we have the wraparound. And this is something that dominated the NHL18 game. My team worked under the net day and night, and we had an amazing record in NHL 18. I wish we'd go back to the way we played in NHL 18, playing under the net, really making teams try to figure us out, making teams try to figure out what we were going to do. We were in teams' heads at all times of the day. We were such a skilled team. But this works a lot in sixes, but in threes, if you're behind the net and nobody's attacking you, then this is a go-to move, especially in drop-in, because drop-in guys, I mean, they're not very good. So you can maneuver, swindle your way out front, get a nice little wraparound. But yeah, you're going to want to make a couple head fakes behind the net if you can. You're going to want to fake that goalie out. You're going to want to have that goalie moving his head. You're going to want to have him going back and forth, because eventually he's going to screw up and you're going to be able to wrap it in. Either forehand or backhand, it doesn't really matter. Just wrapping it in is hard for the goalie because his camera does get kind of distorted behind the net, and it is kind of hard to see. I know from playing goaltender, it's very hard to see from behind the net with that goaltender cam kind of all messed up. And especially if he comes out and sometimes switches it up with a nice little cross crease instead of wrapping the puck, it gets hard for a goalie because then he's going to come off that post. He's going to, you know, this is what I mean about mixing different things in and finding different things to do. So now, last we have the kind of fake cross crease shot. So we have a couple different names for this. We either call it the Jew shot or the Fat Joe shot. So here's what you're going to want to do. So a lot of teams and a lot of goaltenders, whenever you're doing that cross crease a bunch, they're going to start going towards that cross crease. They're going to be looking for it, and they're going to want to read the cross crease. But if you switch it up and then shoot when you get directly by the goal line and catch that goalie off guard, it's going to go in a lot of times, actually. So on the rush, you have two options. If you've been doing that shot too much, then you'll go for the pass. But if not, then you can go for this shot. And either way, I mean, you have a great chance at scoring. This is a good scoring opportunity. Either way, whatever you're going to do, the cross crease or just the regular Fat Joe shot. But yeah, it definitely works. It gets the goaltender moving. It gets him in his head because he doesn't know what to expect anymore. If he knows what to expect every single play coming down, then it's going to make the game really easy for him. But if he doesn't know what to expect and you're in his head, then it becomes a little bit different. And this is what separates the great players from the good players right here. Being able to switch it up and being able to do different things. Being able to switch up what they're doing, not doing a cross crease every time, being able to wrap it, being versatile in the offensive zone, being able to score in multitudes of ways. That is what makes better players better. And you're going to see your points per game skyrocket when you start doing these things. Last up is breakaways and penalty shots. Now, there isn't really something that works every single time again, but there are things that tend to work more on goaltenders. Now, playing the goaltender position from time to time, I've realized that if you get down real close to that goaltender and then take a shot, it is super hard to stop. But what you're going to have to watch out for is that flying poke check. That flying poke check, goaltenders love to use. Now, if you're expecting that flying poke check, now this is number one thing on the breakaway and penalty shot. If you're expecting a flying poke check, then you're going to want to jump over the goaltender. And how you jump over the goaltender is L1 and up on your right stick if you're using PlayStation. I don't know what it is on Xbox. I believe it's LB and up on the right stick. And you're going to want to do that. And that works. You'll jump right over the goaltender and it's a goal. You're going to go right over. Second move that works on the goaltender, and now this even works when they flying poke check sometimes, and this is my move. This is something that I do, I've done for years and years, so I'm going to share it with you guys. You come down, you hold it backhand the whole time, and don't ever go forehand. You move your body just a little bit, make it seem like you're coming across the crease, but still hold it backhand. And now this gets the goalie, because usually people, when they do that, they're coming to the forehand. They don't expect people to stay on the backhand. It's an unexpected move that not too many people do. It goes against the ordinary, and it really gets the goaltender. And it even works with flying poke checks. For some reason, whenever you're holding it on the backhand like that, the goalie can't flying poke check you most of the time. And even if he does, your guy still usually puts it in the net. There's not too many times where he's actually going to save this. One of the times that the goalie actually does save this is if he goes dirty birdie. But again, if he does go dirty birdie, that's when you should jump him. And going to the forehand while he's on dirty birdie works too. But if he does go dirty birdie, then he just guessed right. Oh well, you know, it happens. Another thing is, you don't want to go too fancy against the human goalie unless you're up by a lot of goals and just messing around. But if you're trying to score, you can stop up if you think he's going to poke check too. If you think he's going to flying poke check, you can just stop right in front of the goaltender, and that should beat the flying poke check. Then you just go forehand and boop, tap it in. That works a lot of times. It all depends, honestly. It's up to you guys. Figure out what works for you, and decide what you want to do on these shootouts and breakaways. Alright, so that should be concluding it. I think I went over how to score on computer goalies and how to score on human goalies, and I believe 3 or 4 different ways for each category. You're gonna have to switch it up, keep figuring out what you want to do. And I think this is going to make everybody a much better player. If you do these things, it takes a while to learn, but once you learn them, you're going to see your point totals, your goal numbers, and how many wins you get rise. Especially if you guys are in a club and you guys want to be better and for your friends or whatever. I mean, this is huge. This is a huge thing. So thank you guys for stopping by. I mean, if you guys could drop a like and subscribe, that would be great. If you want to see more videos like this, and I was thinking about putting out a defense one like this too, how to play defense. I think it should be interesting. It probably won't be that long of a video. It will just pretty much show how to stop what I'm saying, because since there's a way to score on all these things, there's also a way to stop them too. There are only a few situations where you really can't stop them. But a lot of this game is a game of guessing, so let me know if you guys want to see that. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.